custom corpses, and I really can't read the comments right now because I'm going to be working on this guy. I gotta get this out of the way so we can work on it. Okay, so here's what we're doing. I'm just trying to show you how you peel hard monster clay off an armature. You don't necessarily need to warm it up. This thing's made so you can put water in it. I don't buy that. I don't do that way. But it's a simple process. It's not hard to do. It's a little bit of work on the hands. But as you can see how thick this is the armature underneath. And the one thing you do need is one of these spatula type of trowels. And I sharpen this to be really sharp. I make this really sharp. You don't even want to move it. It's really sharp. And what I do is instead of trying to, hammer and chisel at it, I just rock it back and forth into the hard monster clay until I hit the plastic wall. And I cut it out in sections. Alright, I'm up against the plastic, I can feel it. So now I'm going to go across this way. Until I hit the plastic. And then I'm going to go up this way. And just take it off in chunks and square pieces. You just rock it back and forth, and it'll bury itself in there, trust me. And then what I do is I usually go down the bottom and start prying up on that little spot, or I'll take the spatula and dig into this section here, and I'll peel it away from the wall. It'll literally just peel right off. Look at that, see? Whole section. That's the best way to peel off your monster clay, off your armature. Because if you try to, I don't like warming it up and then having it melt all over this. That's not a good idea. Because you could fill this up with water, hot water, and make the clay softer. I just don't think it's necessary. And I don't need this armature, I need the clay because I got things coming up, projects. And this was the original flashback. And no need for the armature anymore now that I have the silicone masters heads. And why I say that is once you have the silicone heads, okay, once you have the silicone heads, I don't need to have anything on an armature. I can make you've seen my process where I make a hollow head, and this way I can literally peel it right out of a one-piece mold. It's just so much easier. Armatures are really tough because they cause a lot of locking, and you have no flexibility on how to get rid of when you're trying to demold it out of the stone. It's a bitch. You have to make a two-part mold. And I'm not into two-part molds. You guys know that already. I think there's a proper place for it for certain things that we make. It's a little bit of a workout. But as I got to the top of this head, it wasn't as thick. I'm trying to do this left-handed, so I'm not in the in your line of sight. So all I have to do is get a little lift on that. Some spots kind of stick to it a little bit more than others, but the majority of it, it'll peel right off and keep it pushed. Usually peels off a lot easier. There it goes, boom, just popped right off of there. Just gotta break the suction, that's it. But I'll go across this. It don't have to be any specific direction that you do it. You're just trying to get the clay off is all you're trying to do. A little bit of a suction there. There it goes. But I want to save, you know, once you melt this down, it becomes sticky again, so you never have to worry about it. That's the biggest problem with clay that sits on an armature for a long time. You can't stick new, fresh clay onto it if you're trying to sculpt something out. And yeah, as you can see, this is the original FB78, which I did away with this logo back here because I don't like it on the back of the neck, so I put everything up here higher on the new sculpture. And yeah, so this is the process, and it comes off pretty quick. Cleans up pretty nicely. You don't want to take too much off at once unless you got real strong arms and hands. I'm too old now. I don't have the strength that I used to have. So I work in smaller sections. Makes it easier, just a little more time consuming, that's all. I used to cut out the whole damn thing straight down and just pull it right off. My arm strength isn't there like it used to be. I'm 63, almost 63. I'll be 63 at the end of the month. The end of June, not the end of May. So, well, I mean, I still got strength, but I just don't have the, I don't know how to balance. I just know that there's a big drop off in the last couple of years with my strength. But I also think it was the Ozempic that caused some of that. Now that's another thing. If it really is sticky and you have a problem with getting it off, like there's a spot here that this thing was really grabbing onto the sculpture. It was grabbing onto the armature. A real sticky spot. So I just know that, you know, as we get older, we fight, until we can't fight no more. And, I'll fight until I'm dead. I'm just that kind of personality. I don't believe in giving up on anything. I'm just not a giver. I'm just not bred into me. I don't believe in giving up. If there's a will, there's a way. And that's why, like, the majority of the stuff that I'm doing, how I'm doing this, I invented it myself. I didn't really see anybody doing it the way I'm doing it now. With like doing hollow heads. I've never seen anybody do this that way. So, and usually, I'm sorry, I'm checking to see how many people are on. Let me see if I can see your messages. Hold on. I gotta look at my phone, guys. Yeah, let me. Well, no, nothing happened. I'm taking the. It's time to get rid of this clay. Who is that? Mr. JT. Yeah, I'm taking the clay. I already have this molded, so I don't need this. I don't need this. As a matter of fact, the armature is going to go out in the back shed now because I don't really need the armature until I start doing scarecrow masks. Because then Let me read some more comments. Okay, and I'll try to keep it short. Joe Thornbird, I don't know what B stands for. H, I don't know. All right, I guess you're spelling something out. I don't know. I don't have time to be reading that kind of stuff. Write out your message where I won't. Maybe there's more to it. I don't know. No, there isn't. Which sculpt is this? This is actually the original flashback mask. This was the first version that came off the armature. And even that was altered a little bit before I did the silicone. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking this clay off of here because I don't need this. I don't need the clay anymore on there. I just don't. I don't even need that armature anymore, to tell you the truth, unless I start working with something that has a chest plate. In other words, you see the chest plate here? If I make a mask, and that might be the scarecrow mask, when I make scarecrow masks, once I get away from Michael Myers altogether, it'll have a chest plate, and I'll use this armature to make a scarecrow mask with the chest plate in mind. So I'm just going to keep working this clay off of here, and I'll get it back in the slot here. A little bit of a workout, but you know what? It's good to have a little work. It's also good to have a little exercise in the process of doing this stuff. Okay. That's definitely in the sculpture. Bang. Just popped right over there. Wink. You gotta love it. A lot of people struggle with trying to get the clay off, and I find it very easy to do, especially, and I use hard monster clay. This isn't soft or medium. This is hard. There's three grades of monster clay. That's what they call this, monster clay. It's an oil-based clay, and there's three different gradients. There's a soft, a medium, and a hard. And this is the hard. I like working with the hard because I'm more of a tool guy. I like using a lot of tools. I sculpt some with my hands, but mostly with tools. Mostly with tools. So, yeah, this is just a little video showing how to take the monster clay off. It's raining outside, or I'd be stoning, and I'll show it to you guys as soon as I'm done doing this. I'd be stoning my, what do you call it? My foam-filled latex master copy that's ready for stoning again to shrink down to the size that we want the mask. It looks good. It's definitely ready. Yeah, I felt there's a lot of suction behind this one. This piece. There it goes. Once that breaks, that suction. Right off the armature. Man, that's a lot of clay. I got a big bucket full of, look, a pail already full. And I got, yeah, it is what it is. Alright, so here's a nice thick part. And once I get down below here, I might be able to pull this whole thing off. The front of the face is always the hardest because it has all the detail. goes. Boink. Once it breaks suction, now I'll clean all this off because this comes right off. It's not a big deal, even if it's sticking a little extra hard, you know, a little more sticky. You just go. Now let me see if I can. Look at this. Look at this. The whole neck's gonna come off. Hold on. The whole thing came off. Look at that. That's what happens once you get it to a certain point. It starts really coming off a lot easier. I could probably pull this whole. Yep. Now this might, it might be a lot of hard. A little more strength than I have. No, maybe not. We'll see. Guess I have a little more strength than I thought. Yeah, I might have to. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, look at that. I'll be damned. The whole thing's coming off for me. Love it. The whole face. Gotta love it. Now what you're seeing over here, I don't know if that's in the frame. I'll have to. In a minute I'm going to show you guys the there's a nose. Pull the nose off. Get the stuff out from underneath the eye cut. Come on, break free. That's what we want. Man, I got a pile of clay there. Yeah, when you're using an armature, it's always best to have the clay nice and melted, freshly melted, and then put on there. You don't want it not watery, not melted to the point where it's liquefied, but real soft, melted real soft. And then you just take clobs of clay and you kind of stick it on there and you try to really get your thickness even on these sculptures. You got to get your thickness even. This is still really sticky around this nose for some reason. So this is an Ed head. This is the name of this armature. It's an Ed head 2.0. And I'll show it to you in a minute. But you can fill this up with liquid. Now, I don't find it necessary. It's the methods that I use. And as you can see, I mean, in the short time that I've been on here, I got most of the clay off of this thing pretty quick. You know, you think it's going to be a nightmare. It was so surprising the first time that I demolded the Ed head, and as you can see with all the scrapes and everything with this thing's been used a couple times. But the first time I demolded this thing, I was really shocked. I think it's on one of my videos. I'm pretty sure I videoed it. And I wasn't sure, so I decided, let me video this so you guys can see it firsthand. I'm going to read your comments in a minute as soon as I get this cleaned up a little bit better. Now I'll nitpick at this. I'll use some sculpting tools to take off the majority of this clay. I just want to get it. I'll have to use sculpting tools to get all this little stuff off of here. I try to usually pull the whole face. You see how like the bottom part, when I pulled that off, the majority of that whole thing came off? That didn't happen when I was trying to take this off on here. It really was sticking to this really well. So let's see where else I'm just taking off what I can. Let me show you the bottom of this thing now that I got the majority of the clay off of it. See, this has got, it's so you can fill it up with water. You fill it up with hot water, real hot water, boiling water. You fill the whole head up. Close it off. When you're trying to demold it, I mean, there's that method. I don't believe in that method. I just showed you why. Because if it melts, the clay that's up against the head gets real melty and gets real liquidy. What'll happen is it doesn't want to demold real easy. You end up with a bunch of smeared, you know. That's peeling off now. Pretty easy. So there's the head completed enough to where I can scrape the rest of it off. Let me put my computer over here, because this is my work area for my computer, and I need this area for my computer. And what I'm doing, guys, is I'm clearing out 90% of what's in here and only using, taking you off the stand. All right, I remelted all the clay that was, this guy here is the master. So I've remelted all the clay, and now that's reconstituted. Let me turn on the lights here so you can see the sculpture, or the latex pull. Oh man, I had a lot of people on. I guess they're all bouncing off of here. Let me see. Hold on. I'm back. Sorry for the, I had to close it out and then turn the lights on, because it's an app on my phone to turn these lights on and off. But let me show you. Now that, yes, Monster Makers makes that head. All right, let me read your comments, because I'm not on my... Yeah, you guys want to see the LC? Hold on, Mr. JT. You know what? I'll put the... now that I've shown you, this is the latex pull. It's foam filled. I'll show you. See, it's got foam in the inside of it. And that's ready for... That's a thick... Hold on, let me zoom out. That's a thick pull, very thick pull. Show you another little secret that I learned. You see these little white blotches you're seeing there? All this is to fill in any kind of little air bubbles, the imperfections that you get when you're stoning clay or when you make your mold. Sometimes you'll get an air bubble, and how you repair that, I'm not even sure how I learned this. I think I just took a guess at it. I didn't learn it from anybody. But you take regular latex caulk, white latex caulk, and it's thick enough. I got a little screw in there to keep it wet, and you can fill the holes and it sticks to it really good. Now once I get this perfect, so there's no flaws, it's nice and smooth, I can even texture that so it matches perfectly. Like there was a little tiny hole in here, little air bubble, and I filled it, and it's smooth, it's textured even, you can't even feel it. Up in here there was a little air bubbles right in here, and they're filled. There were a couple air bubbles inside the eyebrow, and I fixed those. And there was a whole bunch of them right here. A bunch of air bubbles right in here, but that's nice and smooth now. Same with up in here. And there was a couple behind the ear that I fixed. And they're smoothed out. Now it still has to be, I still have to smooth them out a little bit more. But that little trick's worth it. It is really worth it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to move this guy over here, and I'm going to bring the LC over here and put it right on the stand, and you guys can see it in all its glory. That's going to be awesome. Man, I've been dealing with for 2 weeks my back. Really bad. Sorry about that. All right, that's going to be the, now I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. That's going to be the LC. I still got to make those ears smaller. The ears are too small. There's a lot of work that has to be done. Like this cheek here, on this side, this looks too razor cut. It has to look more natural, so I have to put a little bit of clay on top of that cheek line and build it up just a little bit. I'm going to alter this just a little bit to make it look more like the Michael Myers. I was going to do a Captain Kirk, but I decided against it. I'm into Michael Myers. I'm not into Captain Kirk. I don't really care about the Kirk masks. I'm going to leave the eye cuts the way they are. They look good. I have to reshape those eyebrows to make them look a little more accurate. There's not a lot of work to do to this sculpture because it's not even a sculpture. It's a copy of something. So it's not like it's not my work. It's not my work, and I'm not real proud of this. I'm just like everybody's like, oh, you should do it. You should make one. You should make one, because it's coming literally from the life cast of William Shatner, and I think I have it right there. Yeah, there's the life cast. That's actually a copy of that. And right underneath of it is the resin mold that I made of that life cast mask. Not resin, I'm sorry, silicone. Silicone mold of the life cast, and that's how I poured up this mask. I poured up this mask, and then I had to make the head. And I made the head a little bit bigger so it'll fit, because this thing is really small. It's like 24 inches, and it hasn't even had latex made of it yet, so that'll be like a 23-inch mask. That's how small this thing is. It's really tiny. I was like, man, I'm not digging the how small this is. But the ears are too big. What I did was I made copies of my ears from my other sculptures, from my silicone master copies. I put some clay into those ears right there, and I just slapped them on there, and then realized they look too big on this sculpture. So I'm going to make them smaller, and that's not that hard to do. But there's some work that has to be done to this for sure, to make this look like a real good Michael Myers mask. I don't know what that was. Something just fell behind me. Probably something to do with my my armature. But yeah, so we're going to have the LC. We're going to call this is called, it stands for Life Cast. It's going to be the LC mask from Custom Corpses. So, but I won't deny it. That's not. It's literally a copy of the Life Cast. So. And what's really cool about it, it looks very organic, because you're seeing actual features in the face. All the bumps and all the imperfections, all the like you see a little bump right underneath the eye there. There's a bump, and then there's the lines, the age, the wrinkles are all there. The natural features are in the face itself, you know, and I have to enhance them a little bit, not too much because I don't want to take any features away. But yeah, so this is it. I mean, here I've been on for 30 minutes and 35 seconds, and I demolded the original FB78. I took all the clay off the armature, and that didn't take that long. And what else did I do? What else am I doing? You know, yeah. So it's raining out, so I can't do anything. Look at the size difference, guys. And that's a pull. That's already shrunk up. That's a lot smaller than what the armature, what the original sculpture was. That's like literally almost 1.5 inches smaller than what the original sculpt was. But that's going to be really nice. That mask is going to be so awesome. It's really going to do well, I think. So what do you guys think? Let me read your comments now, because it's not really, they're not popping up. I have to. Coble Johnston. I got, you know what? I think I'm gonna. You're being deleted. You're being blocked. Remove. Kobe Johnston. I don't know who you are, but you're good. Say goodbye. Oh no, you know what? I just deleted the message. I didn't do that. That's not what I want to do. I'm trying to remember how to do the. It's not that I'm trying to report. I'm trying to get anybody into trouble, but I'm not going to have this stuff where people are just. Put you in timeout. How's that? 24 hours. Say goodbye, Kobe. All right. I just put him in timeout for 24 hours. Next time he comes back, he gets deleted for good. Can you turn the LC around? We did that. Okay. Kobe, stop spamming. All right, so what's that? What's that say? RBH? Is that RBH? My eyesight's terrible, guys. Which sculpt is that? Is what you asked. And this is the version 2 flashback from Custom Corpses. Me, I designed that. This is the LC. This is coming from a life cast of William Shatner's face, which is over here. I just showed it. It's right there, sitting on top of the mold I made of the life cast. And I poured melted clay into that mold, and it gave me a half a face, and then I had to sculpt in the head and ears, which are too big. But this is, I'm waiting for it to get nice because it's raining. It's pouring rain all day today, so I can't really stone. I was going to stone this today, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, guys. So, and I just got to wait for dry weather. I can't do stone work on the mask in high humidity. It can be like 70% humid, like very humid, hot summer day with the sun out, but it can't be 80% humid because then it doesn't dry. The stone won't dry, and you'll be sitting there for hours and hours and hours waiting for your stone to cure. So I avoid high humidity at all costs. And if it's raining outside, it's 100% humidity. So you can't stone in that kind of weather. And I don't stone inside. No, it's too messy. Way too much mess. I did it last year. I'll never do it again. I did it right here in the studio. But this week, My plan is to get all this stuff cleaned up and all the stuff that's on my shelves. 90% of this, I wouldn't say 90%, but I don't know, a lot of it's going out into my shed. Yeah, Black Scorpion, that is a Monster Maker's Ed Head 2, Part 2. Ed Head, yeah, it's Ed Head 2. And you can fill it with liquid. And I love that Monster Maker head for original, like when you're trying to, like when you're first doing a sculpt. It does work well for monster clay. And as you can see, if you watched just now, I just took all that hard monster clay off of it very easily. So my hands feel a little sore, but I got arthritis and I got all kinds of arthritis is in my hands. So I put Kobe into timeout for 86K. I don't know what the hell that means. Seconds. So it's 86,000 seconds. So he's been timed out. And why, explain to me, guys, why do people spam? What is the point of that? Yeah, you have no choice. There is no such thing as Black Scorpion. You have to keep moving. I'm 63 years old. I'm not a young man anymore, so I don't know how old you are, but I'm 63. I'll be 63 at the end of June. And I'm just, I've got a lot. I played semi-pro football. I was an athlete 90% of my life. So you know what I'm talking about. You're there. You know how, and it just seems like every year something new. And I've been through hell. But on a good note, I've been repaired too. All right, so here's what's going on at this, and you're 60. Now, I played semi-pro football. I've got a lot of problems with my back, my hips, and basically what I was told, my hips are so bad, the arthritis was embedded in my hips ever since I was in my 20s, and I didn't know it, because I didn't have any symptoms or anything, and I played football and beat the hell out of my body. I've got 9 vertebrae in my back fused naturally because the discs were squashed so much. They won't even touch my back, they said, that because they don't think that they can improve my life by doing a 50-50 chance that does anything to improve my life. Better, the other 50% chance is it could make it worse. So the best thing is not to touch the back. So the back is undoable. I can't do anything about the back. But I found out my hips are real bad and they have to do a double hip replacement. Well, I got real heavy when I stopped exercising. Yeah, I'm not messing with the back. Back is so tricky, it's not even worth it. So over the years, when I stopped exercise, I used to run between 6 and 10 miles to keep my weight down. I was able to eat whatever I wanted to, whenever I wanted to, but I wasn't really that unhealthy of an eater. In my entire life, I wasn't, because I was athletic, so I always had to make sure I was eating good nutrition. But, you get your Christmas holidays and stuff, and I had the kind of metabolism that if I smelled cake, I could gain 10 pounds, just smelling it. So it was just so horrible. I went from high activity to zero activity because I developed an arrhythmia with my heart. And for 30 years, I couldn't exercise. And it piled on a ton of weight on me. With the heart condition, the other things were bad, but I was still able to do like bands and stuff. But every time I did any kind of even light exercise, walking too far fast, I would get palpitations real bad and sometimes go into arrhythmia. Well, last March, they finally fixed my arrhythmia. Not this past March, but the March before last. March 26th, I went under and had an ablation done. And I haven't had any problems with my heart since. And I've been perfect with that. So I got that fixed. But where they went in was the groin on both sides. That's how they did the surgery. They went in through your groin, and that's how they fixed the heart. I thought when I first got done the surgery, and they told me I was going to have growing pain for a while, and I thought this pain wasn't going away. I'm like, why is this hurting so bad? What the hell's going on? And it wasn't going away months and months, and still was like, so I was like, you know what, I need to go get it looked at. And I thought maybe there's something that they tore or did something wrong, but it was both hips. So I go to the doctor, and they do an x-ray, and they're like, holy shit, you got bad arthritis in your hips, and you can't even see the joint. That's how bad it is. The ball and the socket, you can't even see. It's just clustered with arthritis. The left side's worse than the right, so they're going to do the left first. But they can't do anything unless I lose another 80 pounds. And I was on Ozempic. Ozempic made me lose 130 pounds. But it leveled off, and I wasn't losing anymore. So I now eat absolutely perfect, and I am starting to lose weight again. So my question is, do I really want to put myself through the gastro bypass? This is what they wanted to do. They want to do a gastro bypass so I can lose the rest of the weight so they can do the hip surgeries. I'm going to do both hips and get them totally replaced. But my thing is, I'm going to go through all this bullshit, and I'm still going to have the back problem. So I'm like, do I really want to do that? Well, the back isn't really too big of an issue with me, especially once I lose the weight. But the hips are always going to be a problem. Anytime I'm lifting anything real heavy, my hips want to pop right out of the socket. That's how bad they hurt. I don't know if you know what having pain, joint pain, bone on bone, but that is piercing, and it's unbelievable painful. And trust me, you guys don't want that. And if you're athletes, man, trust me, take care of your body. It ain't worth it. All the football in the world, it's great when you're young and you don't give a damn about anything, but you're going to pay. You're going to pay. You're going to pay dearly. Black Scorpion, yeah, I agree, man. And you know what I'm talking about. If you've done any sports and you've beat up your body, you know exactly what you're going through. And I played semi-pro football. I played for like 3 years in the semi-pro leagues, maybe 4. I can't remember. It's been too many years. I'm 63. You're talking 30 years ago, 40 years ago. When I played. I think I was 28 years old when I was playing. Just trying to, what I was trying to do? I was trying to make it in the NFL. I had the speed. I ran a 4.4 on the 40-yard dash, and I was really fast at getting, I was just really quick. I was quick, and I always felt like I was faster when I was playing than I did when I just kind of ran off the line. So playing speed, it's always so different when you're playing football versus when you're just at the track and they're timing you and you're just running. I don't know, the adrenaline's not there. So your timing's always, so I always thought I was a little faster than 4.4. But I ran a 4.4, and now my height wasn't quite there. I'm 5'9", 5'10", somewhere around there. I used to be 5'10", and then the back injuries made me 5'9". Hey, this is wild, guys. My original license when I was 17 years old was 5'10". That was my measurement. Then when I had the back injuries, I became 5'9". The hip injuries, they've gotten worse and worse and worse. Now I'm 5'8". I'm losing height. This is like fucking sucks. I'm like 5'8". I'm like, wait a minute, you got to check that. She says, nope, that's those hips. You've got to get them replaced. So, yeah, so I got to get that. Yeah, it's trust me, guys, if you young guys out there, just I don't like to say stay away from sports, But you really have to be mindful of what you do. I would say, if I had it to do over again, I would have been just a swimmer, because that's what I really loved to do. I was a swimmer. I was a high diver, a scuba diver, a water sports. I did a lot of water skiing and you name it. Like I used to do a lot of stuff like that. But water skiing's bad on the back, believe it or not. Being pulled out of the water from that tow line from a boat. You know, once you're up onto the skis and you're moving pretty fast, it's not too bad. But the slightest little chop in the water, all of a sudden your back's taking a beating, because every time that line gets a little slack and jerks your body, it whacks the shit out of your back. So I'm lucky I'm not in a wheelchair. That's a fact. That's just the way it is. Yes, tendon injuries. Yes, definitely. Do not, like, I used to set my own bones. I broke my fingers. I broke ribs. I didn't break any major bones. I did bad. I thought I broke my ankle, but it was a really bad sprain. That's worse. That hurt worse than the breaks. But I used to set my own fingers and stuff. And let me see if you can see. Well, actually, I did a good job on that one. But this one, that middle finger, look how crooked over it's like, and you can see the scars where the bone popped out. Oh yeah, broke this finger too, bone popped out. Reset them, as you can see, they're twisted. See how they're twisted? You know, but like, unlike this hand's okay. I think I broke this finger too. You know, sports. But I used to set my own bones. I was like, I'm not going to the hospital, pop it back right in. And even that compound fracture, I set it, I pulled it in, back into place. I felt it go in. It's so weird. You can actually feel the bone go back where it's supposed to go. And it did. It went back where it went, but it was a little twisted, a little bit off. And then I wrapped it in bandages, you know. It healed up, left a hell of a scar. And on the other hand, I have a scar from my hitting my fingers with a grinder. Wasn't that fun? But trust me. Yeah, I've played. I was a fighter. I love fighting. I hate to say that because I'm not really that way mentally. I'm not a hater. But if somebody brings it on, I'm like the first one to go into it. Just, and it wouldn't be wise today. I'm so beat up, man. My body sucks. But my father was a boxer, so he taught us how to box, and we knew how to fight. And when you know how to fight, you're not afraid of fighting. And I had karate too on top of it, so I had those injuries that I had some, you know, got the shit kicked out of me a couple times. In karate, because I was too cocky and I like to fight. So took me to the mat a few times, so they say. Yeah, war stories, I'm not talking about them anymore. I don't really care. I just, you know, just something to talk about, because I'm doing this sculpting, and you guys wonder why I'm dragging, and I'm not really, like, I get days where I can't function that well. So I have to rest. If I don't rest, then I don't want to be shelved for any real length of time. Even with these surgeries coming up, I don't want to be stuck on a mattress on a bed, you know, healing up for any real long time. So I don't know how bad the gastro bypass is, but I'm seeing the doctor Monday. If I have this done, I need to know how long is it going to lay me up. 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I don't know. But my goal is to make resin. As you can see, I'll show you guys. I have my resin right here. I'm making my resin molds. The resin came, and that's the filler. Now you add this powder to the resin to thicken it up so I can put it on the vertical surfaces. And I put the resin right on this latex mask. This is latex. And it's a nice tan color now because it's cured. When it first came out, it was almost as white as that mask there. Not quite that white, but it was almost that white. But I have the resin. I bought 2-gallon kits of the resin. It's expensive as hell. Cost me close to $400 for both of those gallons. But I have 2 masks to do. I have a large master copy that I'm going to do and a small. One's going to produce a 25-inch mask and the other one's going to be a 24-inch mask. I'm thinking 25.25 and 24.25. That's where the masks are going to be. That's how big that mask is going to be. I'm only going to sell in 2 sizes. I'm not doing 3 sizes like I originally did, because if I did the 3 sizes, that mold right there produces a 26-inch mask. That's that right there. This is 26.25 right now. But once I stone it again, that will make a 25.25-inch mask. So the next stone, the stone that goes over this, will make the 25-inch mask, and I'll have to make a wait a minute, let me think. If this is 26.25 and I stone this, yes, that'll make the 25. Yeah, it'll make the 25. Wow, I have to think about this now because I may have to stone this one so it produces the 25.25 inch. Yeah, because it'll shrink up. Yeah, this gets stoned. Or not stoned. This also gets yeah, this here, I have to put resin on this. I have to put resin on this to produce the 25.25 inch mask. Yep, I'm already in that phase. I love it because this turned out pretty good, other than a little bit of flaws here and there, but I'll be able to make a resin copy of that. Yeah, so that's one less step I have to deal with. Awesome. So I'll make my copy, and then when I stone that, that will produce that stone. Wait a minute. Yeah, then that stone, if it makes a 25-inch mask, that's what'll happen. I'll stone it, and it'll make a 25-inch mask. And then what I have to do is take the pull out of that and make, that'll be for, that 25-inch mask will be for the resin 24. So I have one more step to go with stoning, and then I'll be able to make the 24-inch and the 25-inch 25.25. That's what I'm shooting for. I'd like to be, 24.25 and 25.25, and that'll give you a really nice mask. And this guy here, he's already at friggin' the head's pretty big, but the face is really small. So I don't know what kind of shrinkage that's going to be. We'll see. I may have to make very thin casted latex mask out of this, because if it's too thick, it'll shrink up way too much. The thicker the mask is, the more shrinkage. So I have to make sure that I don't make those masks too thick, or else you will have the mask not fitting you at all. AJ, I think. AJ, well, my name's, it's DJ. I think that's what you meant to put. DJ. I think these, enough of our war stories. Yeah, I know. I just heed the warning to everybody out there, because I don't want them to go through the shit, that I'm going through. That's for sure. Try to avoid it. Really take care of your body. I really didn't think I'd live this long because I really played on the edge. I used to be a high diver, scuba diver. I've even done skydiving many years ago. I just lived very dangerously, and I just thought that, I was going to be dead by the time I hit 50. Surprise, surprise. But now I've got a body that's so beat up, you know. But I'm fixing it as I go. I don't give a shit. If I get 20 more years of life, yo, what's happening, DP24? What's going right now? Just joined. Okay. Well, I demolded. I took the clay. DP, I took the clay. Let me show you first. Let's take the step. See all that clay there piled up? That used to be on the armature that was sitting right here. Remember? Well, I took all the clay off of that, and that armature is going to go out back because I don't really need that until I start doing scarecrow mask. But I took all that clay, and I still got to melt all that clay back down and put it where it needs to be. I've already melted the clay that my sculpture here. This is the master copy that I'm going to resin. See the resin behind us here? I'm also going to make another stone copy of this, but this is the master foam-filled master latex for the resin, and that's going to produce a 25 1/4 inch mask once I'm done. This is the LC that I haven't started messing with yet, and I don't plan on messing with this just yet. I took all the clay that was here and melted it back up because I can't use this stuff once it gets to a certain age. I got 3 big pails of it, and I melted it all down, and I'll be using this for future clay sculpts. And I still have 2 tubs of clay over here, right there, 1 and 2, one sitting on top of the other, and hard monster clay. And I got all this clay to melt yet. But so that's where I'm at, DP24 in the house. So and I'm talking about my injuries and the shit, stuff that I got to do. I got surgeries coming up, double hip replacement, gastro bypass. I got all this coming this year. So, but I'm into quality, not quantity. I don't care if I live 10 years. I want quality years. So, and my biggest thing is I want to be around to do these masks. I really, really, really love this, man. I really wish I had done this early in life. But we didn't have YouTube. YouTube teaches you anything and everything you want to know. And you had to go to school for stuff like this. You had to go. I was supposed to go to the Philadelphia Art Institute back in the early 80s. But my father got injured on the job. He's passed away since. He died in 1995. He's been gone for a long time. But he got injured on the job real bad injury to the back. And I had to go to work. I had to leave school and go to work and pay the bills. It is what it is. Do I regret any of it? I wish I could have done something more about it. But am I angry at my parents for that? No. My parents brought me into this world. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really, really nice. It turned out so incredible. Let me try to give you a better angle and zoom in. Now this is latex, but I've got this thing so nailed. So nailed. And that's going to be the LC. Pipe Master in the house, brother. Yeah, this thing's going to be... Yep. I'm going to put a resin copy on top of this one too. That's going to produce a 25 1/4 inch mask. The resin copy of that, but I also have to stone it. Stone it to make the 24 inch mask. And once I stone that, then I'll make a 24 inch then this will be 24.25-inch mask available. So there's going to be 2 sizes that I'm selling. That's it. Oh, sure. You miss your father anytime. I mean, both my parents are gone now. My mom passed away. She was 81, and she died in 2021. Memorial Day, she passed away in 2021. But she lived a full life. My dad he was only 56 years old when he died. But he had all kinds of real bad problems. He got injured on the job and stuff. Do I have any regrets? No. I love my dad. I would have sacrificed anything to keep doing what I was doing, you know. But just like any young man, you want to do things with your life, and you can't really stay helping them forever. You have to start focusing on your own life. But I don't have any regrets. YouTube's a wonderful thing. If it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't know how to do this mask making business at all. And, you know, listening to people. But it is what it is, you know. We get one life to live. Live it to the fullest. Do what you can. And really chase your passion. Because if you have a passion, man, you're always going to be better at your passion than you'll ever be just working a job for money. When you're chasing the dollar more than something that you love to do. I'm sorry for the jerky camera. It's a little better when I have it zoomed out. And there's the original. I have one. Oh, there we got the Night Creeper. I don't like this. I don't like the eye cut too big here and it's shaped wrong. I'm going to redo that Night Creeper. Maybe. May not even mess with it. But this is the original. That's the original, my version. It's my mask. I'm not selling that yet. It was the FB78. That's the FB78. This is V2 FB78. Version 2. And the lips are so much nicer. The lips are right on the money. The bumps underneath the under the lip, lower lip, the lower lip's correct. Everything's it's really on the money. I mean, the shadowing's not doing it justice right now, but I mean, this mask wasn't bad, but the eye cuts were too big. And there was just things that you know, it had to be fixed. Now, this isn't a bad mask, but it's not this. Even these eye cuts are so much better and more accurate. The sizes are perfect, especially when they shrink down. You know, this is a smaller mask than that. This mask over here is smaller than this, and the eye cuts are smaller here than they are on that mask, and then that mask is smaller. So, and there's the mold that came out of. This came out of that mold right there that I managed to make last week. Yeah, I made that mold last week. Those molds take a while to dry, so you have to let the latex dry up, and you also have to make let the stone dry out really good. You cannot put latex into a wet mold. Not a good thing, because it just doesn't give you a good copy. But the latex, if that latex is not thoroughly dry and all the moisture's out of it, your stone will delaminate after it comes off. Once you pull the latex master out of that stone, it's just not a good thing. So from now on, I let these things completely dry, and they turn to a flesh color. They turn to a complete fleshed color like that before I stone them. And I'll also do a release on it, so there won't be any moisture breaking through that release. I'll spray like 4 or 5 coats of release on it, let it dry, then I'll put the stone on it, and we should have a really, really good casting. Better, I hope so. But I've learned some tricks. I mean, as I've made mistakes, I've learned, what you can and can't do. And this trick here, it's like I was having problems with the stone on the latex before. And that's when I realized this time around that, you know what? There's still moisture in the latex. You got to let that latex completely dry up. But I was always worried about too much shrinkage. Well, this stopped shrinking at 26¼ inches. Perfect. Because that will make a 25¼ inch mask, I think. If it shrinks more than that, then we might only have one size. I may not have a large size unless I can always use this for the large size and then make a copy of it. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Either way, if this shrinks down to 24½ inches instead of the giving me the 25¼ still a good thing, because a lot of people can fit into a 24½ inch mask with no problem. And that's what Nag's mask is. It's 24½. So I'm actually hoping that this does shrink up to a 24½, so I don't have to make two sizes. I'll try to do a 25 one way or the other. I'll definitely try and do a 25 from here, because what I'll do is I'll catch it and I'll foam fill it with a denser foam. I'll catch it before it shrinks up too much, and I'll foam fill it with a denser foam, meaning stiffer, so it doesn't allow the mask to go any too small. It'll stop it from shrinking up. If the foam is real soft, it'll still shrink up on the foam. Anyway, I want to let you guys know what I've been doing, and that's what's been happening. Yeah, so I did a lot of work. I demolded that. If you watch this video, I'm going to upload it. It's 67 minutes long. See, I don't edit my videos. I just don't care. I'm not trying to make money on YouTube. I give up on that theory. I give up on that idea altogether. I don't even know how to monetize. I think I have enough people to monetize my channel. I just don't know how to monetize. And if I can monetize and I was making a little bit of money from it, then I'd probably have a little more incentive to do the video editing. But I just don't. I don't have time for that. I'm so busy with mask making and mold making and dealing with health issues and all the other, and I still do my other job. I just don't have a lot of time, and I have a family that I have to take care of, and I cook. I'm the cook. So, all right, guys, I'm going to say good day. It's Sunday. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hopefully, it's sunny where you live, because where I'm at, it's raining, and it's messing me up, because I want to stone that today. That's what I was going to do, stone that today. And then after I was done stoning it, I was going to make a resin copy of it. Because now this 26-inch will make a 25-inch. Yes, that'll make a 25-inch, 25¼ inch latex mask. So yes, this gets resined. The large is there. I don't have to do two sizes. I thought I had to go down 2 more sizes. I don't. I only have to make 1 more size down, and that's the 24½. So once I stone that, and I make a latex pull from that, that's going to shrink that down to 25¼ inch. I'll have a latex foam filled 25¼ inch, and that I'll resin. And I won't stone that. I won't need to, because I can't go any smaller than that. So I'll go 25. That'll make a 25¼ inch mask, and I'll resin that, and that will produce the 24¼ inch. It shrinks about an inch, a full inch. It could shrink up to an 1.5 to 2 inches. I've seen too, depending on the latex. But this stuff seems to be shrinking only about an inch, 1.25 inches. But all right, we'll see what happens. All I know is this is ready for resin and stoning. I'm going to stone it first, and then I'll resin it. Maybe I'll resin it first. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I got to do I got to do both. No, I don't want to do that. I'll put the stone on it first, because I'm afraid putting resin on this might change the the chemical that, you know, the resin that was on it and stuff. I don't want that hindering my stone. I have enough problems with the stone. So I'll stone it first, then I'll resin it. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. I'll see you on the next video. And I'm giving you a heads up. Can't do much in this rainy weather. But here we go. Got some work to do. Peace. Hit the like. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace. Bye.